Okay, the takeaway from last night's Democrat debate, the race is in big trouble, serious trouble. Iowa still up for grabs, still no Democrat frontrunner, even MSNBC slamming the debate. Watch.
It was a dull and plodding debate. You had 39 minutes at the top of the debate about foreign policy and trade, and not really even any pointed questions about Iran. It was really kind of like, why are you the best person to be commander-in-chief? I really was sort of stunned by how airless and lifeless the debate was.
The viewer ratings have plunged 2/3 since the summer. Debate headlines today dominated by the only fireworks. You see it here. Elizabeth Warren refusing to shake hands with Bernie Sanders, getting into a heated conversation with Bernie afterwards. Okay, when you have stories and headlines that say that Joe Biden or Amy Klobuchar won a debate by default, and that Bernie Sanders' loudest and most forceful opponent was a CNN moderator, then you know the debate was a failure. Again, viewer ratings have dropped 2/3 since the first debate in June. Let's bring in Kristin Tate, conservative commentator, author of the book, The Liberal Invasion of Red State America. Great to see you, Kristin. Your reaction to what happened. What's your take on this?
Yeah, you know, for once, I agree with the commentary on MSNBC, which with such high stakes and no clear frontrunner, we were all expecting some memorable clashes last night. We thought the gloves would finally come off, but instead we just saw a group of people occasionally politely disagreeing with each other and just repeating these tired talking points about how awful Donald Trump is. Nobody came out swinging, not even Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, both of whom really need to do something big if they want any chance at being the nominee. Overall, it was just a really subdued affair, and it will probably have a pretty minimal impact on the polls. I guess if there were any winners last night, I would say they were Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. There's really only one rule in a debate if you're leading in the polls, which is not to make any errors. Both of these men managed to do that.
I mean, but that's really the standard. But there was nothing on economic growth or job policies. I mean, we've been saying for 2 years now, Kristin, and I think you would agree, that if you better have a solid case to impeach the president. Critics say they don't, because now you're overturning the will of the voters, which is against the Constitution, and you have candidates with zero good policies to take back the White House. Critics are saying, hey, Democrats, you're in trouble. They're talking about raising taxes on the poor and doubling the size of the government. Really?
Yeah, it was really disappointing that there were no hard-hitting questions about how these candidates would actually pay for their big government programs. But, you know, ultimately, Liz, I think at this point we all know where these candidates stand on the issues. They are all people who would vastly expand the role of the federal government and want to implement these trillion-dollar programs that would put the country on the fast track to bankruptcy. They are trying to exploit low-information voters with promises of free stuff that would be doled out by these programs. The big question is going to be, will that work with working class tax-paying people, even people who might not love Donald Trump? And I have to suspect that the answer is going to be no for many voters.
Yeah, here's the other thing that's going on. We've got news coming in about the Trump economy. All U.S. metropolitan areas enjoyed income gains. Income went up. We haven't seen that in 26 years. 45 states saw their state tax revenue soar. That is the best showing since the Great Recession. Look at the pop in state tax revenue because of the longest economic expansion in U.S. history now underway, which the Trump economy is powering forward on this front. I want to talk to you about this. CNN's Van Jones getting ripped for dropping a truth bomb for saying what every Democrat fears. Watch this.
There was nothing I saw tonight that would be able to take Donald Trump out, and I want to see a Democrat in the White House as soon as possible. There was nothing tonight that, if you're looking at this thing, you say any of these people are prepared for what Donald Trump is going to do to us, and to see further division tonight is very dispiriting.
Okay, no one can take on Trump. Bernie Sanders, again, dodging questions about his policies. Watch this.
Our plan wouldn't bankrupt the country, and in fact, it would much improve the well-being of working-class families and the middle class. Let us be clear what Medicare for All does. It ends all premiums. It ends all co-payments.
Senator Sanders, you've consistently refused to say exactly how much your Medicare for All plan is going to cost. Don't voters deserve to see the price tag before you send them a bill that could cost tens of trillions of dollars?
Okay, so what happened was he answered saying, basically, he didn't answer the question. He just bullied over the moderator's question and went ahead about what he said the plan would do. When the cost is astronomical, Kristin, final word to you.
Yeah, I mean, this is nothing new. The Democrats have been dodging questions about how they would pay for their plans this entire time. Hopefully voters can see through it. But, you know, Van Jones is correct when he says there's no Democrat who is prepared to take on Trump. Trump is a fighter. And a lot of people I know, Liz, instead of watching the debates last night, actually tuned in to Donald Trump's rally in Milwaukee because say what you will about Trump, he is a showman. He's full of energy. He's entertaining. And, you know, when you compare that with these Democrats who are uninspiring, low energy, there's just no comparison.
Kristin Tate, great to see you. Come back soon.